Dear friends of Our Lady of the Roses, Our Lady of Fatima, and Our Lady of the Annunciation, and to all those here in the holy grounds and to those on the social media as well. Rejoice, rejoice, and be glad for this historic occasion. Yesterday, on the Feast of the Annunciation, when Pope Francis consecrated Russia to the Immaculate Heart of Mary in union with all of the bishops on the same day. And we are praying that this bears great fruit, if not, that it leads to the eventual conversion of Russia. And it really is amazing, really, to behold when you consider all of these years we were working on this, along with many other organizations as well, but particularly Our Lady of the Roses and St. Michael's World Apostolate, for decades, with prayers, rosaries, mail campaigns, visits to Rome. I remember in 1987, for every week, for weeks, months, we were bombarding Pope John Paul II with Consecrate Russia. And so it really, I think, is the fruit of the labor of this organization and many others as well. And maybe a little shout out to Father Nicholas Gruner as well, all of the tremendous work that he did as well. He gave his lifetime, or would you say his life, for specifically this cause. So, and I think at least the few Fatima scholars that I read, they used the word elements, that all of the elements were there for an acceptable consecration to the Father in heaven. You had the solemn consecration, you had Russia, you had Immaculate Heart of Mary, you had the Pope in union with the bishops, you had on the same day, and so again, all of those elements are there. So we're very, very hopeful that this will be acceptable to the Father in heaven. So in any event, though, the bottom line is we put this in the hands of divine providence. And we'll let the Eternal Father figure this all out because we really need this grace. I think, as I've mentioned before, and I think we can say with a lot of confidence, there certainly will be a lot of outpouring of grace because of this event. I had used the example of Pope Pius XII in 1942. He had consecrated the world to the Immaculate Heart. They asked Sister Lucy, what do you think about this? And she said, well, he didn't fulfill the conditions. However, it still was pleasing to the Father in heaven, and that as a result of that consecration to the world, it would hasten World War II and save millions of deaths. That's what Sister Lucy was reported to have said. So I think at minimum, we're very hopeful for that. Good people for sure. And we understand this is not automatic. Just because it was done yesterday, all of a sudden we're going to have the end of the war and the conversion of Russia. It usually doesn't work like that, although you never know. But what we do really hope for, good people, is certainly the end to the Russia-Ukraine war. Also the thwarting of the nuclear attack on Long Island that Our Lady predicted, and that was prophesied by Our Lady, and that Veronica saw in a vision. And lastly, that the pain and anguish and sorrow of the Ukrainian people are eased. That would be a good start, good people, that the Father would hear our prayers right there. Because certainly right now we are still facing World War III. You have a monster, you have a madman in Moscow who has no qualms of conscience, no hesitation in pressing that button, that nuclear button. So we have to keep praying, keep uniting our prayers here on these holy grounds. But nonetheless, we are excited by the prospects, by what happened yesterday. It was a very beautiful event. John and I, along with Dahlia and, forgive me, there was a few other, Pete was there, a few other Baysiders were there at St. Patrick's Cathedral, Cardinal Dolan. He really was, you could tell by the reading of his prayer, very sincere. John was in the media section, so we got good video. I got some good photos. John was reporting that during the prayer, Cardinal Timothy was going like, yeah, like that, like very passionate. It really meant a lot to him. And Darrell was assigned to St. James Cathedral in Brooklyn. So he got some good pictures, video, audio as well, and he got that nice picture with Bishop Brennan. So if you only knew, Darrell, if you only knew. But so we'll be sharing that with you as well. So it really was a beautiful event. So we are excited about it. However, we do, and I get this, we have to temper this because, for one thing, as Jesus said to Lucy, the consecration will be done, but it will be done late. You've heard this probably a million times. Well, it is. This is late, good people. The horse is out of the barn. The toothpaste is out of the toothpaste tube. Usually, I think as you good people know in life, that when you're late, when you do something late, the consequences are often negative. And so we have a little bit of an uphill battle here. But nonetheless though, we're thankful that it's done. The other issue here too is Our Lady said too, she was very clear that the peace promised at Fatima, that's been canceled. Because we did not obey readily or within a reasonable time work, that the era of peace is canceled. That's not going to happen. And now, barring something, Our Lady has always said if there's a major reversal, that's always understood. But for all intents and purposes, that era of peace is canceled. Our Lady was very, very clear on that. But I think though, we have so much to be grateful for. I think we are thankful to Pope Francis for performing this act with the bishops. You can't make this up. Who would have thunk it that Pope Francis would have done it? If you don't believe in miracles now, you should. You should now. For Pope Francis, who is, as you know, an enigma. I think maybe that's the best word to describe him. You don't know what you're going to get with him. But I was just reading the other day that he consecrated his papacy in 2013 to Our Lady of Fatima. Interesting, but if you saw the event yesterday, you saw the Pope, who also was very passionate and anguished. You saw him when he was looking at Our Lady of Fatima statue, appealing, imploring Our Lady to stop the massacre in Ukraine. You could see it, that this has really shaken him right to the core of his heart as well, good people. So I think we are thankful for him and the bishops as well. I think the main thing, though, is that we keep on praying here, uniting our prayers, and our intention, above all, is that this consecration that the Pope performed with thousands of bishops throughout the world, that it will bear the greatest fruit in the coming days, weeks, and months. That's really our prayer, good people. Once again, let's unite our prayer, which is so powerful on these holy grounds, as you've heard me say a million times, so very powerful, that this consecration that Pope Francis performed yesterday will bear the greatest fruit for the Church and for the world. Our Lady of the Roses, pray for us. Our Lady of Fatima, pray for us. Our Lady of the Annunciation, pray for us.